सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Chant from verse 31 to 33 to 39 if possible, or up to wherever you can.
Okay, I'll try. From 33, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः सांख्ययोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अथ चेत्त्वम् इमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते भयाद्रणादुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथा येषाञ्च त्वं बहुमतः भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम् अवाच्य वादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरन्नु किम् हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्माद् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युध्या कृतनिश्चय सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि एषा ते विहिता सांख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि।
Very good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep it up. Keep it up. So we are seeing now something important again. Bhagwan has already started to address Arjuna's state of mind, which is at the moment confused and is grieving, and so is disturbed and has lost the objectivity and the direction to know what is right and wrong, and as a result of which feels not clear and willing, enthusiastic to undertake a task which faces him, which is the war. So Krishna has already taken a few standpoints. We have seen it. He is using pure knowledge along with psychology, as we see it throughout the way he addresses Arjuna also. It's a conversation, and therefore he is not deviating from the knowledge, but is also keeping in mind Arjuna's state of mind while the way in which he is communicating the knowledge. The use of psychology here is to understand how to convey a point that is to the benefit of the other in the state of the mind that the other is holding. It's a very, only a knowledgeable person will be able to do it. It's a very skillful technique. It's a very skillful method in which the communicator here, Krishna, is communicating to Arjuna, whose mind is on the border of depression, if we use the word in present context, how to convey what is the truth, the real knowledge that is beneficial for him, in a manner that he can receive it as well, in his state of mind. So we saw him, Krishna, addressing the Paramarthik Drishti. We saw Krishna addressing from a very Jivatva Drishti. We saw Krishna addressing from a very Laukik Vyavharik Drishti, and we saw him addressing from a complete Vyavaharik idea of oneself, from a Vyavharik Drishti, which is how we see ourselves. From these four standpoints, Bhagavan has already addressed that why Arjuna's grief is irrelevant, is not something that is going to benefit him, is something that is, in fact, preventing him from doing what should be done. We saw in the first chapter Arjuna's concept of papam. He had said there in verse 38, and then just he said, Katham nagneyam asmabhihi papad asman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyat bhir janardana. O Janardana, when we can see the papam, pap, which is to incur on killing our own kinsmen, how can we then participate in such an action? So he had revealed his understanding of what brings adversities in life, what brings what is called as papam, what is that which will bring a future result, which will not be auspicious to one's well-being, that he has stated And now in 44th verse itself of chapter 1, he had said, Aho, bata mahat papam, kartum vyavasita vayam. Aho, it was a sense of exaggeration, if you remember. When our minds are losing a sense of objectivity, we tend to exaggerate the facts. So he says, Aho, bata mahat papam, this great papam, this great sin is a wrong word, papam, that we are about to undergo. We will do if we participate in this war, if we fight this war. For what sake? Yat rajya sukha lobhena hantum swajanam udyataha. We are eager to, we are willingly, for the sake of yat rajya sukha lobha, for the sake of greed of rajya and sukha, hantum, killing, swajanam, our own people. And this ghor papam, mahat papam, we are ready to do for the sake of rajya. Remember this point, these two verses, and the whole context in which Arjuna's state of mind has been so far. Bhagwan has now addressed first his shok. Up to this point we had seen. He gave Atma Vidya, and then up to the point of 37th verse, he has brought him to say, if you concentrate on doing what is your swadharma, in any situation that is available to us today, if you are able to grasp what is your swadharma to be done. And swadharma, we said, is to be deciphered in two ways. One is from where we are born into the community, into the parent lineage that we are born into. From there we get some sort of an idea of what our own inclinations are towards broadly. And the second is immediate nature that I express in the vyavharik drishti, the roles that I have taken. So one is from the parental side, my birth is determining what is my dharma. Another thing that determines is what are my roles that I am playing in society. From a societal point of view, my roles are deciding what is my dharma. Krishna has now brought Arjuna to understand that even if you miss out on what your true nature is, Atma Vidya, even if you do not understand the nuances of Jiva Yatra, Jiva Gati, even if you do not understand the basic Pratyaksha Niyam, that what is born dies, Sharir is born, even if you do not appreciate this, and all this is not helping you to overcome your grief and overcome your own confusion, then better is to stick to doing what is your dharma. And he had brought him to appreciate the societal point, which is the immediate, cognizable, recognizable fact for all of us. Shastriya Drishti is that he is a Kshatriya. He has identified with it, because of which there is a societal role that he plays. Bhagwan had said, tap into this understanding of yours. What is your guna? What is your own composition of nature? What is it that inspires you? What is it that holds you? What is it that binds you within as an individual? क्या आपको ठहराव देता है? आपके कौन से गुण हैं जो आपको मैं लगते हैं? So many times in the world we say, this is not something I would do. This is not who I am. And if somebody else is doing something better than you, I wish I could have done that. Supposing you're an actor and you have another actor who's acted better than what you think you can, you would say, I wish I would. If you're a sportsman and there's someone better than you, you would say, I wish I would. You are identifying immediately with that. What you would automatically gravitate to. क्या करोगे आप? As a result of which, Bhagwan had inspired him psychologically now by showing him the pros and cons of what gains he gets by following his Swadharma. Swargam, if he wins, Rajyam, Sukha Bhoga, if he gets Viragati, Swargam. And therefore, in 37th verse, he concluded, Tasmat, Uttishta, rise out of this mental, lethargic and insipid outlook that you have fallen into, which is not helping your situation at all, which is not solving your situation, which will only aggravate it, which will worsen it. Get up and fight with determination. Decide and fight. Now in 38th verse, and this is a very important verse. Very, very important. Now Bhagwan is shifting the layer of logic, the layer of reasoning. He's shifting now another point of attention in Swadharma. What is the way in which one can act, because of which the action will not taint you, bind you, will not leave you in a sense of lack of fulfillment. So this is going to be the 38th verse onward. And here starts a glimpse of what is Karam Yoga. A glimpse here. He's giving like an introductory part. He's not going to elaborate here. He's giving you the outline of what is Karam Yoga, which means we have come up to the point of identifying one's own dharma, swadharma. That is a mandatory thing. Within your swadharma, within your own inner nature, what gravitates you to perform the actions, kind of actions that you take on. Within that, he says, there is a way in which you can act, and the concern that you have that I will not incur papam, I should not get papam, that concern will be resolved. In the second chapter, 33rd verse, he had given him a direct way in which papam cannot be accrued. Atha chet tu imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tata swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papama vapsyasi. Here he had said that if you give up your swadharma, you will get papam. First chapter, what is Arjuna thinking? He is disturbed. Shloka Moha was addressed by giving him Atma Gyan, and that from Atma Drishti you should not be grieving and all the Drishtis. The other concern Arjuna had was, we are doing a great papam, which means he understands that karma brings results. That killing my own people is a samanya dharma, that it will give papam. अपने स्वजनों को आप मारोगे तो ये तो कॉमन सेंस की बात है कि this will be looked down upon. This will bring you adversity. This will be counted as papam. That is samanya niyam. But now Krishna had said in the 33rd verse, by giving up your swadharma, you will actually take papam. That was the first point. And now in 38th verse, he will say, how exactly should you perform your swadharmic activity? If you do it that way, there is no way that even a ghor karma like fighting a war, even a ghor karma like killing your own people, it will not accrue papam. It will not accrue papa. Papa, again I'm repeating, if you have missed it in any of the classes, papa means, can't see if I do it now, maybe okay. Papa means doing something where the result is going to bring more and more difficulties and become a spiritual hindrance to you. It'll bind you and put you in a cycle of pursuing karma, and bind you in a cycle of, if you don't work, you won't be freed of even the fundamentals of life, etc. So you get caught up in a cycle. That is called papa. Brings adversities to your spiritual gati. In the 38th verse, Bhagwan is going to say that now, what is the way in which you can avoid papam, at the same time not slip into inactivity? What is a common sense? अगर मुझे पाप नहीं चाहिए, मुझे गलत फल नहीं चाहिए, तो what will most of us do? Most of us think कर्म नहीं करना.
ईश्वर को अर्पित
अगर
कर
मुझे
देंगे.
फल नहीं चाहिए, अगर मुझे फल नहीं चाहिए, तो most of us will think, averagely speaking, कि हम कर्म ना करें. हम कर्म नहीं करेंगे तो फल नहीं आएगा. कृष्णा has already said, कर्म नहीं करोगे, जो स्वधर्म का कर्म है, नहीं करोगे तो पाप आएगा. It's a nuance. It's subtle. Most of us would say, okay, if doing such an action is going to be giving me wrong result, I will not do the action. But we do not look into it. We do not take into consideration that is that action ought to be done by me. क्या वो मेरा कर्तव्य है? If it miss out on the point कि वो मेरा कर्तव्य है, and if I do not do, then it becomes papam. It will still give me papam. वो फल देगा मुझे. Therefore, what is it that is to be done? In this verse he says, Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Absolutely important. I don't know how to annotate this, but let me. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Never mind. Sukha dukkhe, sukha dukh, same, some, same value. Holding them in the same value. Kritva, karke. Same kritva. Holding sukh and dukh in the same value. Same kritva, labh alabh. Giving same value to what is labh alabh. Same kritva jaya ajaya. Victory and defeat. Same kritva. Making them equal in value. Labh alabh. Why do we do any karma? What is a karma? What is action? An action is something that is initiated from an entity, embodied entity, keeping something in mind, some prayojan, some phalam, keeping that in mind, collecting the instruments that are necessary, qualifying oneself as best, performing the action. Idea is that I will get for what I am doing the action. What have I generated the action for? उस फल के लिए, उस लक्ष्य के लिए, उस ऑब्जेक्टिव को पूरा करने के लिए. If I do not have the objective in my mind, कोई लक्ष्य नहीं है, मन में कोई इच्छाएं नहीं है पूरी करने के लिए, तो कर्म है नहीं. For most of us, कर्म is आधारित on फल. This is very common sense now. All of us will understand. कर्म हमारा फल से जुड़ा है. Therefore, the outcome also matters a lot to us. अब हमारे हिसाब से अगर फल आ गया, that outcome will give us happiness because हमारा कर्म फल से जुड़ा है. And when we say हमारा कर्म फल से जुड़ा है, मतलब हम फल से जुड़े हैं, because कर्म अपने आप तो हो नहीं रहा. तो हम जुड़े हैं फल से, और कर्म is just a means for us. हमारी दृष्टि फल पे है, हमारी दृष्टि जुड़ी है, हम जुड़े हैं. We are one with the idea of gaining a result. We are joined to it. Mentally, there is a oneness with it. Average, we don't recognize it, but जुड़ गए हैं. Because जुड़े हैं, तो फल से डिपेंडेंट हमारा भी स्थिति है. Means, if I don't get the फल as I wanted, but natural, that outcome will depress me, will affect me, make me unhappy, will make me sad. फल से जुड़ के कर्म is very incidental for us. हमारा नजर कर्म पे नहीं है. It's incidental means for us. Our entire attention is on फल, because फल हमने जोड़ा हुआ है with our happiness. If I am getting that फल but natural, I am going to be happy. If I don't get that फल but natural, I will be sad. फल is the important part. फल के बिना कर्म करना मुश्किल है. Because of this, हमारे मन की स्थिति is also wavering situationally, circumstantially, as the results are unfolding. So we are sometimes happy, sometimes not so happy, sometimes we are angry, sometimes we are depressed, sometimes etc., etc., etc. Based on what the outcomes are. In a day also we have many shades in our mind, because the wavering is seen, because we are not paying attention to where we need to pay attention. By default, we are looking at the result. Shastra Vidya says, this is the cause of your suffering. Even the happiness that you get from such a result orientation, if something has come according to how you wanted it, even that is going to be a cause of your suffering. फल से जुड़ोगे तो forever you will be bound. So what is to be done? When you look at Swadharma, and we said Swadharma has to be associated with your Kartavya, easy way to find out. Karne ki kya hai? What should I be doing in this situation? What is called upon me to do? What is someone's privilege upon me becomes my duty. What is my duty to be done? When the attention shifts to the karma, what is to be done? What is to be done? What is to be done? What happens to the result orientation? What happens to the attention on the result? If
That
I
becomes
say what is to
incidental.
be done,
That becomes
that
incidental
becomes
then.
incidental. It becomes secondary. It is still there in my mind, but it is not in my attention primarily. मेरे immediate attention में क्या है? That is the first clue of converting karma to karma yoga. In my immediate attention is the phal my attention on, or is my attention on what am I to do? That is the very first step. He says here, because our sukh and dukh is dependent upon the results, and the results are always in the pairs of opposites, labh, alabh, jaya, ajaya, because this context is the war context, so jaya, ajaya. If it is a stock market context, what will happen when it rises? Jaya, sukha. When it falls, what happens? Dukha. If it is, if you are a student and you have to get education in a choice of your own institute, if you get it, sukha. If you don't get it, dukha, etc., etc. This labh, alabh is our fundamental vritti with which we assess everything which pushes us into where we act. मेरा फायदा किस में है? जहां मुझे मेरा फायदा दिखता है, I move there. I am always shifting to where I have my attention on. I can't see that. Where your attention is on. He says, if you're able to shift your focus, attention on immediate now, train yourself, sadhana hai ye, practice hai, abhyas hai. Keep your attention on what is my duty now. अब मेरा कर्तव्य क्या है? 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 What is my duty now? What is my duty here? What is my duty now? When your attention goes in your mind to what is to be done, with reference to the results have become insignificant. They have become incidental. They have become secondary. Whatever be the result, there is a preparedness in the mind of what is to be done. What should I do? What should I do? Dukha dukhe same kritva means whatever comes, whatever has to come because of whatever I do. And if my attention is on what I have to do now, whatever comes is incidentally taken. He has not brought in Ishvara, I am not bringing it. I am sticking to the verse. He will unfold this in details later on. This is a primary verse to be remembered. सब भूल जाए, कोई बात नहीं. But if you remember this verse and are able to abide in it, your adhyatmic gati is initiated. It is already started. What is the adhyatmic gati towards? We know Vedanta has said, you are Atman. Krishna started by that. All this is Anatma, you are Atma, Atma Swarupa is Nitya, etc. Know that. If you know that, you are never bound, you can never be grieving. ये हमारा आध्यात्मिक लक्ष्य हो गया. आत्मज्ञान एक आध्यात्मिक लक्ष्य बन गया. It is there as a final answer to all my struggles in life. It ends it once and for all. My sense of smallness, my sense of limitedness, my sense of struggle, my sense of individuality, my sense of wants and needs, and my sense of relations and unhappiness and happiness, and actually in a lifetime there is so much that's happening. Every life, from birth to death, no life is stagnant, really speaking. Every life has a movement happening all the time. Every few years, every few decades, there is a movement. परिस्थिति बाहर बदलती है और आपका जीवन वहां आ जाता है. You find yourself in that fresh parasthiti. You find yourself in a fresh environment. You find yourself in a fresh set of people. You find yourself, your life, somehow you wonder, is it really the same you who's living in the same life who was living something else? You can very well wonder. Many of us would go through that. That means there is a gati constant happening. Pravaha nityatvam is a lakshana of samsar. ये तो चलता है. And by whether I will it or not will it, the life has a pahiya. It is on a wheel. It is ever moving. Just as the earth is ever rotating and revolving, life is ever on a wheel. It is always in motion. That is called life because it is in motion. That in motion, the final objective, where does this motion end? Where will this life cycle end? We have seen it enough now. Death does not end it. So where will the sense of smallness end? Where will the sense of littleness end? Where will the sense of struggle end? Will there be a lifetime where I will have no struggle? No. Shastra clarifies it straight away. Indra also has struggled. Brahmaji also has struggled. So if struggle is an integral part of one's life, then there has to be a very, I would call it, intelligent way of handling life situations so that we can minimize the sense of struggle. The final solution Vedanta has given us, and the final solution is Atma Vidya will end it. वो तो लक्ष्य हो गया. But अगर वो हम तैयार थे, तो the very verses that have gone already would have freed me from a sense of individuality. ब्रह्म ज्ञान तो हो गया. भगवान ने दे दिया. It should have freed me from the sense of smallness, I, अहंकार, मैं, कर्ता, मैं, etc. जीव भाव से फ्रीडम हो जाना चाहिए था अगर अधिकारी थी मैं तो. ब्रह्म ज्ञान तो भगवान ने दे दिया, but I still find myself caught up in my sense of individuality. I still find myself wanting, etc. Then that adhyatmic goal, Brahma Vidya, has now become my lakshya, and for which Bhagwan had started bringing it down to Arjuna and our levels. And he says, this verse, so far he is addressing Arjuna. From 38th verse now, he is bringing one to recognizing how will you take an entry into your spiritual pursuit. अपने आध्यात्मिक स्वभाव की तरफ कदम कैसे बढ़ेगा? How will you make a movement towards your own Swarup? What will help you to come to your Swarup recognition? What will help you to come to your Lakshya? Your Lakshya being Brahma Gyan, abiding in it. आपको ये यहाँ पे क्या लेके आएगा? Brahman तो आप अब भी हो. Shastra has told us. We are Brahman even now. What will bring us closer to this? Understanding, knowledge, and then abiding in it, being one with it. That it ends everything. This is the first point. Kritva, karke. Karke means before you start any action, sukh, dukh, same kritva. Bring it to the same value in your mind. कर्म का फल सुख भी हो सकता है, दुख भी हो सकता है. Both are only incidental outcomes. My attention must stay on my karma, my ordained karma, my duty to do, my swadharma, not someone else's karma, not someone else's duty. I have to recognize my own duty and my abidance in that duty is where my attention is, and kritva, karna padega. Having done that, having done means पहले ये कर लो. पहले अपने मन में, अपनी नजर में, अपनी दृष्टि में, अपनी समझ में. How will you neutralize a value? Has to be understanding. In your understanding, sukha dukkha same kritva, that any action done, labh, alabh, jaya, vijaya, ajaya, I'm sorry, hani, etc. Victory and defeat, gain, loss, these are only outcomes. They are judgments about a result. You can never know for sure whether they are right or wrong for you, whether they are good or bad for you. They are always outcomes that seem to be whether I prefer them or not, whether I like them or not. Do you know the story of good luck, bad luck? Who knows? No? We haven't done it? Okay. Good luck, bad luck, who knows? There was a village, and a war broke in a village. A farmer was already very poor. The farmers were poor in that village. And a war broke there, and it was proclaimed by the government that all men had to join the army. Before that, this one farmer, his crops were destroyed by whatever. Some other farmers' crops were flourishing. So everybody started pointing to this farmer that, oh, poor you, कितना नुकसान हो रहा है, कितना हानि हो रहा है, कुछ तो बुरा कर्म किया होगा, ये पाप ही तो फल है कि आपका इतना नुकसान हो रहा है, etc. The farmer must have read the verse, Same Kritva. He just maintained a neutral state of mind. He didn't, he just kept quiet. He just said, because it's an English story, so they said, bad luck upon you. Paap kiya hai. The farmer just said, good luck, bad luck, who knows? ये पाप है कि नहीं, कौन जानता है? Then, to till the ground, crops were cut. Farmers got a good price. He slipped further. Excuse me. He wasn't getting poorer and poorer. He had 3 sons. No, I'm sorry. He had only 1 son. And his son started working very hard, tilling the ground. And as he was tilling the ground, the other farmers were flourishing around. And as he was tilling the ground, this farmer's son fell off wherever, the horse or God knows wherever, and he broke his leg. Now, more calamities seem to have fallen on this farmer's family. Again, the villagers got together and again they said, oh, so bad. कितना बुरा हुआ आपके साथ. पता नहीं क्या दशा चल रही है, पता नहीं कौन से ग्रह खराब हैं, कुछ तो बुरा हुआ है. Bad luck. Again, the farmer said, good luck, bad luck, who knows? ये पाप है कि नहीं है, कौन जानता है? A little more, the rest of the farmers were all, and this fellow was tending his son. He didn't have a wife. There were a lot of difficulties in the family. Then the war broke, and it was announced by the government that all young, able-bodied men were to join the army. What happened to all the villagers' sons, those especially who were flourishing? What happened to their sons?
They had to go.
All had to join the army.
All of them had to join the army. Now, what looked to him, to everyone, as bad luck, for this farmer, what happened to his son? Not joining. Why? Because he is not able. Good luck, bad luck, who knows? Whether a situation is turning into your favor or not, whether the outcome is actually beneficial for you or not, you really cannot judge it. कि कर्म योग का एक बहुत बड़ा दृष्टि है. The one who can absorb this and abide in it, you're sure way ahead in your spiritual progress. किसी सिचुएशन की हानि या लाभ कर्म के फल से तो आई है, कर्म से आई है, फल है, but is it in my favor or not? For me to judge that, I don't have enough knowledge. So this farmer's son was the only male young body which was still there in the village. And sure enough, the war was devastating. Most of the farmers lost their sons. This farmer's son was soon enough on his feet, and because of which he started to till the ground again. And all along, the farmer had kept on saying, good luck, bad luck, who knows? What looked like bad luck turned to be good luck. The story has more nuances. I have forgotten. I only remember enough to convey the point. And the point is that पाप है कि नहीं है, आज हम निश्चित किस बात पे करेंगे. Just because a result did not come in my favor today, what looked like labh turned out to be alabh, and what looked like alabh turned out to be labh. Only time will reveal the true nature of that result. So Shastra is educating humans that before you engage in action, prepare yourself for us. He's going to later call it samatva buddhi. Buddhi means what? Samaj, understanding, knowledge. Through your understanding, have samata to receive whatever is coming. Do not judge it as right or wrong, good or bad. A result has come, and that result you have to anyway undergo. You have to face it. What is a healthy attitude towards any result? You have to face it. That's it. Good or bad. Whatever it is. Labh, hani, jaya, vijaya. I'm sorry. Vijaya. What is the opposite of vijaya? What is defeat in Hindi?
Parajay.
Parajay. Right. Parajay. Jaya, Parajay. That, he says, once in your mind, sukha, dukkha, same kritva, you ought to be keeping your mind before you start any action in a prepared mode that the result can be either way, can be any way. And you can only have the knowledge, the understanding, the appreciation, the strength to receive whatever has come without judging it. जो भी मिल रहा है, उसको जीना है. You have to live it. So don't waste energy and time and capacities and wondering and hoping and wishing and wailing and expecting things to be different, and all this is dissipation. Sama dukkha sukha kritva. Labha alabha jaya jayo. So same kritva goes with labha alabh, jaya ajaya, and sukha and dukkha. Karke. Tataha. Then what? Then yuddhaya. Yujyasva. Yujyasva. For the sake of fighting, yuddhaya, yujyasva, get yourself ready to fight. Means Arjun ka context is battle. To us, get ready to engage in your swadharmic activity. How? Same kritva. Once it is done, same kritva karke, even if you have to engage in a battle, na evam, same kritva karke, na evam, in this manner, if you will fight the war, na papam, same kritva evam, Tataha yuddhaya yujyasva na papam avapsyasi. You will not incur any sin, any papam, your karma result will never be adverse to you, to your spiritual adhyatmic gati. It will never go against you. Your phal can never be contrary. Your phal will never be contrary to your interest. What a huge formula. As I often say, when things are very important, I always feel if it's conveyed enough. Na evam papam avapsyasi. If anybody who is an active person and has been struggling to find out what is the way out, this portion begins from this verse, begins that portion which becomes like a relief just to know, because now you know what adjustments you can make. What adjustments to your attitudes, what adjustments to your thinking, to your knowledge, to your understanding can you make? Because now moksha gati is beginning to be in your capacity, you're beginning to get an adhikari for moksha. You're beginning to become an adhikari for moksha. Why? Because you're no longer helplessly floating with the situation. You're no longer helplessly letting a situation decide how you should act. You're no longer letting people decide how you should act. You're no longer letting the external world control how you should act. Therefore, I'll bring us back to first chapter, and as I keep saying, keep revising if you really have to be a student of Vedanta, of the Gita. When Arjuna said, Shishyasteham, he wanted to learn. Shishya matlab kaun? जो सीख के, समझ के, अब वो जिएगा. He will do the correction. But to his understanding, to his capacity means to all of us, to our understanding and our capacity. If I understand that in any other way an action done except sukha dukkha same kritva, reverse the verse now. If I am not doing same kritva with sukha dukkha, labha, jaya, etc., and I engage in action, what will be the outcome anyway? Even if it's jaya, papam avapsyasi. Arjuna had said, as I mentioned in the beginning of the class, he had said, for the sake of our kingdom, becoming the rulers of kingdom, we are fighting this war. Antidote. Bhagwan is answering it, precisely answering it. We do not understand this because we keep forgetting the previous portions. This is a direct answer Bhagwan is giving to Arjuna's state of mind, his doubt. And that doubt we all hold. That हम अपने लोगों को मार रहे हैं तो हम पाप कर रहे हैं. सामान्य दृष्टि correct. Magar, if a situation demands you to take extraordinary, strict action somewhere with reference to a welfare of, say, even your family member, and you fritter away because you think the other person will not like it, etc., etc., and you give up doing what you're supposed to do, Bhagwan there had said, that here now, doing what you're supposed to do, irrespective of whether that person likes it or not, whether that person appreciates or not, if it is in your duty, you do it. Then you will incur no papam, which means if Arjuna thinks by killing my people, I will incur papam, that action is killing. Is the action determining papam? Bhagwan here has given an antidote. You will not incur papam, even if the action is of killing. But when? Only when your mind has samatvam for whatever result comes. Now, what was going to be the result of Arjuna's war? He just said it in the previous verse. Labha labh jaya jaya. What can be the outcome of the war? I'm bringing it to very, I hope it gets conveyed. What can be the outcome of a war that Arjuna was facing? Win or lose? The war has not started yet. And Krishna is telling him, before the war you engage in, if you decide to engage in your mind, shift your attention from the result, whether you are winning or losing. Make it insignificant. In your mind, raise your attention to the fact that, am I doing my duty or not? If it is my duty, and you stick to doing it in your present understanding, and this is to all of us, in my present understanding with my best capacity, if something is my duty today, my understanding can change tomorrow and my sense of duty will change tomorrow. It can change tomorrow. Even then, the previous understanding, because it was based on duty, it will not bring you papam. And even when your understanding grows and your sense of duty changes, if you abide then with that sense of duty, irrespective of your attention, whatever the phal comes, I'll receive it gracefully. I will accept it gracefully. Jo phal aayega. But when you start understanding this, now in the next verse, he is directly now telling that there is no way that if you operate like this, you will ever get an adverse result. Papam na vapsyasi, which means what? It means it is always going to be your benefit. ऐसी कोई स्थिति नहीं है कि जब आप कर्तव्य करो और आपको कोई उसका नुकसान हो. ऐसी स्थिति नहीं आती. That's the success formula. That is the formula of success. What is it? If you are able to do what is to be done, then ऐसी स्थिति ही नहीं आती. When people complain, oh, I have always done my duty, but the other person, etc., etc. According to Shastra Vidya, there could be individual situations. We are not addressing, generalizing it here. According to Shastra Vidya, if you are operating on your duty, good luck, bad luck, who knows? Don't judge the outcome. It has to be in your favor. You may not recognize it today. आपकी समझ में थोड़ी कमी हो सकती है कि आपको अपना हित नहीं दिख रहा उस आउटकम में, बट वो आउटकम जो मिल रहा होगा because of you abiding in your duty has to be in your favor. And how? That in the 39th verse, he is so beautifully bringing the advantage or the कैसे पाप होता ही नहीं है. Means a karma can never go wrong if you're doing it out of your sense of duty. How it is like that, he's saying it in the 39th verse. Esha, he's going to now start, he's starting from the 39th verse, the portion in which he's going to unfold it. Esha te abhihita sankhye. This is a binding verse. Buddhihi yoge tvimam shrunu. Buddhya yukto yaya, O Parth, karma bandham यया पार्थ कर्म बंध प्रहास्यसि एषा te abhihita sankhya. He said, so 38th verse, he has just about introduced how will you not incur papam. He says, I'm going to tell you this now in details in the following verses. So far what I have told you, abhihita sankhya, the knowledge that is sankhya. Sankhya means samyak akhyayate, spoken so clearly. The topic which is spoken so clearly. What is it? It's not a Sankhya Darshan. It's Sankhya here is Jnanam. The Atma Jnanam that I have spoken of, say verse 11 to 30. I have spoken of it as Sankhya Yoga, Sankhya Buddhi. The second chapter is also Sankhya Yoga. So that knowledge I have given you very clearly. Brahma Vidya. Now onwards, what he's just introduced in the 38th verse, he says, Buddhi Yoge. This Buddhi Yoga, tu imam shrunu. Listen to it now. Shrunu, suno. Buddhya yukto yaya partha. O Parth, with this Buddhi yuktaha, if you do karma, karma bandhan prahasyasi, you will be destroying karma bandham. What is karma bandham? How does karma become bandham?
जीवत्व में बांध देता है आपको.
जीवत्व में बांध देता है, संसार साइकिल में डाल देता है. कर्म बंधम प्रहास्यसि, it will be destroyed, it will be discarded. How will it be discarded? He's going to give us the attitude here, Bhashyakara. But so far, Sankhya Yoga Buddhi, if you do, then what is that Sankhya Yoga Buddhi? He says, Paramartha Vastu Viveka Vishaye Buddhi. In the Bhashyam, you see, I'm unfortunately not able to underline. What is Sankhya? Oh, not there here. Okay, forget it. Here you see it. So what is Sankhya? Paramartha Vastu Viveka Vishaye. Paramartha Vastu Viveka Vishaye. I expand it, it gets cut. Paramartha Vastu Viveka Vishaye. So that is the Jnanam, which is Sakshat. Shoka Moha Adi Samsara Hetu Dosha Nivritti Karanam. It must be easy to understand. Yeah. The Shoka Moha, which was the cause of samsara, when actions done out of Shoka Moha, which become the cause of your samsara, that dosha, Shoka Moha, Sankhya Buddhi means Vastu Viveka Vishaya, the knowledge of the Vastu, which is Brahman, which is that Jnanam, uska Vivek, uska Jnan, उस विषय को लेके इस दोष को निवृत्त कर देता है. It destroys the dosh. That was the Sankhya Yoga. Verse 11 to 30, entire Atma Prakaranam. Yoga tu tat prapti upaye nisangataya dvandva prahana purvakam. So what is a yoga buddhi now? He's going to say that nisangataya, by Nisanga. Nisanga means non-attachment, detachment. To what? Dvandva, all kinds of dvandvas. Purvakam, before. How? Ishvara aradhanarthe. As a matter of, say, worship to Ishvara, which is karma yoga, karma anusthana, also samadhi yoga. That knowledge of karma yoga, how this buddhi should be detached from the phal, your understanding, and attached to what will you attach it to? That shrunu now, listen to it now. Tam cha buddhim stauti prarochanartham buddhyaya yoga vishaya yuktaha he Parth. So he's just saying, O Parth, that knowledge now, buddhi yuktaha, knowing which I will now be giving. And what is that karma bandham tam prahasyasi? Ishvara prasada nimitta jnana praptya eva. How does that get destroyed, karma bandham? By receiving it as Ishvara prasada. So there are two important factors to karma yoga. Three actually. The first one he has covered. Swadharma means keep your action in the field of your own swadharmic activity. At least ensure that your karmas are in the field of following dharma, niyama of dharma. That's the first point. Thereafterwards, for same kritva, how will you make it sama? What is that knowledge? What is that understanding? He says, for all actions that have to come, the samatvam will happen when I am able to lift my mind, dedicating my action to, here it says, Ishwar Aradhana, means I am doing it as a sense of duty, or I am doing it as, another way of looking at it is, as my seva to Ishvara, to the creation. Seva bhav is an identifiable harm. Why is it so popular in society, in our culture, in everywhere, in all human species? Service is a very valued, respectable value, is very valued, highly respectable. Being able to be service oriented. That seva means here Ishvara seva, means a higher aspect, the controller of the creation. How will I lift my mind out of my sense of mujhe karna, mere liye, main karu, etc. Main karta, how will I dissolve the karta? When I am able to say, I am doing this karma only as my following their command, following I'm doing it as a service. Ishwar Aradhana. That is one part. And the other part is Ishwara Prasada Nimitta Jnana. I'm receiving it as Ishwar Prasad. Whatever be this is. Same Kritva kaise hoga, Jaya Ajaya. Whatever is received as Ishwara Prasad. Kiya maine karam kiske liye? No, not for my family member, not for my society, not for people, not for my desire. I am abiding in my kartavya as a service to Bhagwan, to creation. This is the best I can do. And having whatever comes, I take it as a prasad that is being offered back, that has come to me in the process. This becomes the knowledge that he's going to elaborate upon. It needs elaboration. And 40th verse again is a very beautiful verse. to be tied, like 39th, 38th verse, 40th verse. Memorize it. Tie it to your soul. I need to also tie it to my soul because it is a very reassuring verse. Moments when you start feeling, anybody feels, why should I be doing, or like Arjuna's feeling, etc. This verse is a Falashruti. It gives directly the benefits of Karam Yoga in life. What are the benefits? He says threefold benefits are there, and they cannot be taught by anything else in the world. What are these threefold? He says, na iha abhikrama nashaha asti. This will need a lot of explanation, some explanation at least. We'll be doing it again tomorrow. Na abhikrama nashaha asti. First benefit. First part. Pratyavayah na vidyate. Second benefit. It has no pratyavaya. Anybody remembers what was pratyavaya?
Not doing what we're supposed to do gives us
Correct.
outcome.
So it brings a specific kind of a papam, which is pratyavaya papam. So here what is Bhagavan saying, the second benefit? Pratyavaya na vidyate. There will be no pratyavaya. What is the third benefit? And this is very huge a benefit. Unbelievable gain. How you get relative mukti also with Karam Yoga. This is what it is saying. Trayate mahato bhayat. You overcome the great fear. What is the great fear? Jiva is actually a very fearful. Jiva is always living in fear. Let's put it this way. There is fear always lurking in Jiva's life. Some form or the other. Some fear or the other is always there. What is a great fear? The great fear is when results will not come according to what I want, when there will be opposite of what I want, when there will be more difficulties, more strife, more struggles, when there will be death of my close ones, all those kind of fearful thoughts. He says, Trayate. You cross over Mahato Bhayat, even the greatest fear. How do you cross over? Fantastic assurance. Swalpam api asya dharmasya. Swalpam means itna. How much salt do you put in your food? And your recipe, what is written usually? Okay, forget that.
To taste.
To your taste.
To your taste. Nee, that's a wrong word then. Okay. Asafoetida, how much do you put? What is the word you use?
Chutki bhar.
A pinch.
Fever, a pinch. Swalpam is that much. Swalpam, chota, itna, little, even a little. Swalpam api, even a little. Asya dharmasya, this dharma. Which dharma? What is the context now?
Swadharm.
Swadharm. And further now he's expanded the context. How is he expanding the context?
Karma Yoga.
Karam Yoga. And what did he say in the 38th verse?
You do your duty and you give it to God, like arpan kar dena Bhagwan ko.
Okay. And what is the 38th verse?
Same kritva.
Same kritva. Swalpam api asya dharmasya. Even if you are able to do a little of this, you don't have to master it. You don't have to perfect the attitude. थोड़ा भी अगर आपने अपने जीवन में इसको इंट्रोड्यूस कर लिया, अपने मन में, अपनी बुद्धि में ले आए, थोड़ा भी if you have abided in it, little also, there are 3 benefits you get. I will explain the first one in details tomorrow. It will need a little more time. Pratyavaya, you have understood probably. You will have no adverse effect at all. And you will overcome all kinds of fear. That is why Karam Yoga determines your adhikaratvam. Into what? Into a later stage of Jnana Yoga, say even into a sannyasa lifestyle, into mental renunciations, into becoming a mumukshu, into even having mumukshutvam, svalpamapi dharmasya, preceding the desire for liberation, for moksha, is a jiva who has practiced, lived this svalpamapi, even if it is this much, trayate mahato bhayat, the great fears of samsara doesn't touch them. It doesn't come in them. Because Ishwara Arpanam and Ishwara Prasad have become fairly drid available understandings. सृष्टि में सब कुछ अपने आप से तो नहीं होता. Everything's not happening on its own. That you are able to trace your understanding and oblate it to your knowledge of Ishvara, your understanding of Ishvara, your connection to the totality, cosmic totality, samashti, karta, that you are able to connect it to that, and then you become just a spoke in this whole creation. You are just one of the billion hands of Ishvara. You're just one of the billion mouths of Ishvara. You're just one of the billion heads of Ishvara. You're just one of the billions, I don't know how much it is, but you've understood. It means out of the infinite expression of Ishvara, you are just one little, and that capacity, how much can you have to do? Whatever is there is dedicated back, is offered back, is done with that duty sense. That's my duty to do because it's something not for my sake. As much a person does Karam Yoga in life, it qualifies you for Gyan. Any amount of people who get fascinated by Vedanta and think, oh, I want to have liberation and I am, but your heart is full of raga, dvesh, irsha, etc. You're wasting time. Come back. Don't jump steps. Don't get attracted to moksha like that. It's not happening. You're wasting time. You're wasting your time and life. Return back few steps because the practice, the sadhana, the qualification has to be earned. And that qualification can only come with Karam Yoga. Here in the context, Bhagwan is telling us, and he is also going to tell us, this is not my knowledge that I'm giving you. In the 4th chapter, he'll say, this is a knowledge that has been handed down ever since creation is there. That any wise person, any enlightened person you will find has followed the same formula. And Krishna will say, oh Arjuna, I'm only revealing that to you. I'm saying only what is working, what works in the sense of freeing you from within. Karma done for swartha, for one's own sake, binds you into samsara gati. Niswartha karam, nishkama karam. How is a karam going to become nishkam? When Ishvara is brought in, is the easiest way to remember, is the easiest way to get inspired, and it is held for a longer period of time. Otherwise, if Ishvara is not there, at least kartavya buddhi. At least kartavya buddhi. That's the beginning step. As you start gaining comfort with Karam Yoga, you realize it connects you to totality. Therefore, Ishvara automatically falls into place. Whatever names you want to give it doesn't matter. So, na iha abhikrama nashaha asti. This verse we will do again tomorrow. That this is the only sensible way in which you can really act, because even swalpam, done even a little, has huge gain. So any intelligent person will say, I will choose this. And however attractive the path of karma looks, you will say karma by itself will create troubles. Let me just convert karma into yoga. कर्म योग करके कर्म करना है, कर्म योग से कर्म करना है. कर्म नहीं करना is no option. So what is Krishna now? If you just take these verses as we have done in today's context class, what has Krishna told him? Your attention is on losing your swajanam. Therefore, the moh has entered, the attachment, the emotion has clouded your reasoning. Identify back with your duty. Rediscover it. याद कर लो. है तुम्हारे अंदर. Your pravritti is already there with you. It can be clouded for a little time, but once that cloud dissipates, your own pravritti will start expressing again. Identify that and remember that even a war like this, you will incur no papam. In fact, He's given us the advantage. If you do it as a duty, it becomes a means for your shreyas. Therefore, as clearly as it has been now said, can there be a confusion left in Arjuna? Hasn't Krishna already said, enough now, that this is the way to do? But thanks to Arjuna, he was really lost, and so Krishna is going to give us now for the next few verses Karam Yoga, an outlook. Just as Sankhya Yoga he dealt in fair details, now he's saying, I am giving you Buddhi Yoga. Karam Yoga is another word for it. Sankhya Yoga is Jnana Yoga. Karam Yoga is Buddhi Yoga. He says, I'm going to give you that knowledge now. Shrunu, listen to it carefully, Arjun. Once you listen to it, the information, likely that your confusion will get resolved and you can get up and fight again. Abide in your duty, in other words. So what really is the tatparyam of the entire Gita Shastra? 700 verses. And what is the tatparyam of this? That Shloka Moha Nivritti, Samsara Bija, is burnt by Brahmagyan, permanent solution, and immediate solution and temporary solution and working solution is Karam Yoga. Abide in your duty, in your whatever situations have come to you in your life have only come to you because there is the capacity, the samarthyam for it to overcome them. There is that situation will bring to you a learning. Apply this into those situations and you will see how it's like a kaleidoscope. The world changes once this gets applied in life. Ishwaranugrah falls from every side. The Phal Prasad comes from every which way, which you cannot even understand. When we did Gita Dhyanam and we said even if you chant a verse, there is Phal for it. That means all this is this religion? Just by the way, I need to ask that. Is this religion? He is using fundamental knowledge and psychology. Where is religion in this? Except Ishvara. Your Ishvara can be your Ishvara. Where is it written that only this is Ishvara and not that is Ishvara? That Brahman in any form is Ishvara to us. Bringing that helps get to Karma Yoga. Without it, it becomes a little bit difficult to adapt into Karma Yoga attitude without Ishvara. So those who are Nirishwarvadis, completely in their mind, and they're not able to accept, starting point should at least be identify your duty. That you can always say, yes, I can. Because if you even slip from that, then it may be a little difficult to adapt. Okay, so we will end the class here. Can you please chant?
Yes, very beautiful class, Dipti.
The verses are so beautiful, and it is only beginning now. The following verses are absolutely, I can't, if there's any anugrah in life, it is this knowledge, which directly shows to you what is the way to walk in life. From the beginning till the end, till your death, there is an opportunity. Life will keep bringing circumstances. How can I look at them? How do I adjust my vision? How do I adjust my action? How do I adjust my responses and my reaction? Here is that given to us. Adjust them according to this. It will never go wrong.
It almost
And
seems
how
like
right
on a
it can be.
platter. It's like a
Absolutely.
platter.
And
Yeah.
how right it will be so, it is unimaginably right. You can only gain the fruit and you realize, oh my God, this could never have come out of my will. I could never have got this fruit out of my effort. It can't happen. The fruit can only come because maybe I followed the niyam. And the niyam was, Karam Yoga must be the starting. If an unusual fruit has happened in your life, it has to be because you followed dharma. And only then can it come. Okay?
Sarvesham swastirbhavatu. Sarvesham shantirbhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Swasti prajabhaya paripalayantam. Nyayena margena mahim mahisha. Kro
1 minute.
go. Sorry.
Can you please repeat after me?
Okay.
Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam.
Om swasti prajabhaya paripalayantam.
Not bhaya.
It's
Yeah.
just not coming. Bhya,
Yeah.
bhya, bhya,
Prajabhyah.
bhya.
हाँ.
Om swasti prajabhya paripalayantam.
Do it once again.
Om swasti prajabhya paripalayantam. Yeah, need more practice.
Once more.
Om swasti prajabhya paripalayantam.
Nyayena margena mahim mahishaha.
Nyayena margena mahim mahisha.
Go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam.
गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम्
लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु।
लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु।
काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः।
काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः।
पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी।
पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी।
देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः।
देशोऽयं शोभरहितः।
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः।
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुभ्यो
Very good.
नमः।
Thank you, everyone.